As we've learned, the French, they dominated motorsport, but also automotive manufacturing early on. They won all the races. Then came the Gordon Bennett Cup from 1898 to 1906, the first ever organized international competition of motorsport. Here, J. Gordon Bennett was actually a U.S. American, so he's quite a patriotic individual who was really much interested in country versus country competition. Also, as we can see here, he was a newspaper tycoon, so once again we can see the role of media. So early on, he was using this event, especially its very global interest, to promote his newspaper, to promote his product, so he can make some money. So once again, the role of media in spreading motorsport content, but also the role of media in using motorsport to make some cash. And so this organized event was done so that each country was only allowed 3 cars. As we can probably go ahead and guess, the French didn't like that. They were only allowed 3. They're dominating everything. They're blowing everyone out. Here, that means they were only allowed 3 cars to race in this particular cup each year. And to make it even more nationalistic, the winning car, the country in which the winning car resided, could host next year's Gordon Bennett Cup. A legacy that we still see to this day in motorsport is the use of international racing colors. And this goes back to the Gordon Bennett Cup, when each country would paint their cars in their own unique color. In the case of France, they used the Bleu de France, this paler, this lighter blue that goes back to the French monarchy and whatnot. French national teams in soccer, rugby actually still use this blue in their particular uniforms, kits, what have you. This here is a Bugatti, so you're probably thinking, wait a minute, a Bugatti is Italian. Actually, Bugatti was originally French. So Bugatti was a Frenchman, so this is sometime in the 1930s, and we can see how this car uses that pale blue racing color that distinguished France from other international competitors. The international racing color for Germany originally was white, and we can see that here in the 1909 Blitzen Benz, a German-manufactured vehicle that broke land speed records, very famous car. This white color, we still see this to this day. BMWs often painted white, but also Porsches. Porsches, in the inside of them, utilize a white base color. So although today we might see a lot of graphics on top of those Porsche race cars, the bare bones, the inside of them, utilize white. Some of you might say, wait a minute though, what about the silver arrows? What about Mercedes? Well, Germany also has another racing color, and that's silver, or we could almost think of it as bare metal. And the reason why is the myth, the urban legend is that the cars were too heavy for a particular competition, so they stripped the paint. Then they became just light enough after they stripped the paint, and then became this silver bare metal vehicle. So the silver arrows, we think of Mercedes, Audi, oftentimes utilize silver. So in Germany, the international racing colors are white or silver. If you're a fan or a driver of Ferrari or a rider of Ducatis, then you already know that the international racing color for Italy is this deep red, or would be referred to there as Rosa Corsa, or racing red. Here we have a 1955 Jaguar D-Type that is painted up in the international racing color of Britain, and that's this kind of this hunter green, this dark green, or this is actually known as British racing green. So it kind of has this own distinct color. Today, Aston Martins that compete oftentimes have this dark racing green. Caterham, which is a F1 competitor, also uses this dark British racing green as well. For the United States, our international racing color originally was red, then became this dark blue, but over time we can pretty much identify it as distinctively this particular pattern here, which we have a blue base with 2 white stripes, or the inverse of that, a white base with 2 blue stripes, which you'll see on a follow photo. This is a cool image here. It was originally black and white, in which this individual, mentioned at the bottom, actually has added color to the photo to show what that international racing color would actually look like. The other international racing color I said for the United States is this white with 2 blue stripes. It actually came from an individual named Cunningham who actually put these stripes on his Corvette as he went on to international competitions, particularly Le Mans, using this particular paint scheme. So we still see this particular pattern, although sponsors have changed the game and everything regarding international racing colors, particularly in the United States. But this particular pattern here has become the international racing color for the United States. What distinguishes this particular lecture on the history of motorsport from the motorsports engineering lecture on the history of motorsport is, once again, we're going to focus in on the non-engineering side. So here we can see the role of sponsorship. Now today, sponsorship has, like I said, removed a lot of those international racing colors. No longer do we see them as prominently. Here on the left, a Corvette that competed internationally. Here on the right, a Corvette that competes internationally. And you can see how they're using 2 different paint schemes. The yellow on the right was part of, was first off CompuWare's colors, but it was also part of Corvette rebranding their Millennium Corvette, kind of rebranding, utilizing this Millennium Yellow as they call it. So we can see here over time how sponsorship have come to play an increasing role in the liveries or the paint jobs, but also in the funding of motorsport competitions, teams, what have you.